right. So, Nicola, do we just want to jump right in, or
let's jump straight in. Zuhara, do you want to introduce yourself and give us a little bit of information about what industry you work in, a little bit of information around, kind of where you are, because you're not anywhere in our locations in the world.
Sure. So I'm Zuhara Miriam. I'm a marketing and PR expert. I've been working as a freelancer for over 5 years now. And at the moment, I'm working with Ota PR. I'm based in Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you give us sort of like an idea of what your day-to-day tasks typically are in your position, so that when you tell us your story, we kind of might be able to understand it a little bit better?
Sure. So basically, as a PR person, we working with the agency, we have different clienteles. So we get to understand the clienteles, build their bios for them, and then create different kind of pitches that can be able to have them as an industry authority spokespeople in their particular niche market, so that it can be able to help, place the brand in front of a lot of other people, and also help to propel their brand, and also, build sales. So basically, it's like marketing, but in a wider spectrum.
Okay. So
yeah.
We know which job you're going to talk about, but our listeners don't. So can you tell us how you kind of came across the position, how it was presented to you? Give us a little background on this particular job that you're going to take us through.
So I met her through the freelancers platform that was free up. And then we started working until the project ended. After that, she approached me later on and she was like, I'm putting a team together so that I can be able to come up with this agency and work it on a broader, perspective. And then she was targeting women because she wanted it to be a women-led kind of organized agency, working with different women as well. So that is how I came to get to know her. So once she approached me, we did a contract with her, and I was like, okay, this looks like an amazing opportunity, and also the intention is good. So I'd like to be part of the team. And that's how we started working together.
So what was your, did you have an employment agreement or a contract or anything like that?
Yes, we did. I was working as her PR manager full-time. Yeah.
Okay. And
I don't want to jump ahead, but we know that things go pear-shaped. So I'm curious to know, when you got the employment contract to sign, were there any like weird clauses or anything in there that kind of stuck out to you as maybe a red flag at the time?
Or not really.
Sidebar. Did you not even read it fully? Like I probably would not have. I probably just been like, sign whatever.
Yeah, actually, I did read it, not, with an angle of something was going to go wrong in future. So I did read it, just to see the kind of job description I have, the number of hours I'll be working, and that the amount we have agreed as payment has been captured correctly.
So there was nothing that you were like, that sounds weird, and then never asked about it, or, or just was able to kind of explain it away in your own head? Because I feel like that's what happens in toxic workplaces. You're like, they probably don't mean that, because that sounds insane. And then you're like, oh, then like fast forward 6 months and you're like, wait, they did mean that. They are insane.
No, basically, I think she pulled it from somewhere and just put it together. So everything seemed to flow at that particular time. Remember, this is somebody who also has been working with organizations in terms of, employee culture and all that. So I'm assuming.
Yeah. So Nicola and I kind of did a little bit of I wouldn't say a deep dive, but we got curious after we first talked to you. Are we allowed to say her name or her organization?
Yes. Yeah,
Wasn't her name Catherine?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Catherine Tuamine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because when we went on the website, it was really weird. Like everything was weird. And we did our best effort to try and contact her. We contacted her through, the main website, LinkedIn, and then also
her other thing, which I can't wait for us to get to, the culture. What is it called again?
Culture cure.
Culture cure.
Culture cure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can't
Yeah.
wait for us to get into that. But we did reach out to her because we wanted to hear her side. Maybe, you know, sometimes, you know, the truth is in the middle somewhere. But I don't know if we necessarily believe that, but I think we're on your side. But I think we just wanted to kind of get an idea of like, why would you do this? Like, I don't want to give too much away, but like, if it was something serious, like the company's going bankrupt or
or you know, something's
like just tell your employees, be like, I fucked up, I accidentally, like, you could paint it however you want, but just be honest about it. Like, you would have been pissed, but you would have been like, at least they told me that this was happening, you know?
You know,
like,
yeah, but the weirdest bit will have been because you can't tell your employees that, you know, I'm broke, we're bankrupt, and you're taking vacations and clients
well,
are
we're gonna
paying,
get to that.
so it's
We're gonna get to that.
I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
But I think what Nicole and I were, I think part of us were like, maybe we can like ambush her and she'll have to come up with something on the spot.
Maybe she comes up with some of the money she owes you. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So basically, this woman, and we're going to get into it, ends up not paying you for your work that has been clearly documented. Like, you came with receipts. Like, you didn't just allege this. You came with receipts. So, from all the information that was presented to us, we believe you, Zuhara. So, I think Nicole and I's idea was just to see if she would come on the show and kind of be like, hey, what's going on? And she didn't respond to any of our inquiries. So there wasn't too much we could do past that, but we did reach out to both her regular marketing site. And when we also looked at her, can we just quickly talk about her resume or whatever that she has on the marketing site? It's like she had one internship and then all of a sudden now she's freelance and she's like working for Coca-Cola and all these things. I'm like,
and she's but not just freelancing, she's a really skilled PR agency person where it's like you had one
you were an intern for like a summer somewhere and now you're skilled marketer. All right, so you got hired by her. Tell us, what are the first things that you're like, this seems strange?
That's kind of the first red flag. Oh, let's go with beige flags.
Or pink flags. Any pink flags?
I think she went all in. The first time was the non-existent accountant because we agreed that the salary would be paid.
This. I love this. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, we agreed the salary would be paid by a specific date. That was usually by 5th. So comes 5th, it's 10th, and 10th, we're almost midway the next month. And she's like, you know, I've talked to the accountant. He's still putting something together and all that. But we never actually got to meet the accountant or even just get an email randomly from the accountant. Nothing. So to date, I still don't know if the accountant exists or she was still the accountant. But that is when, you know, I started seeing the red flag because 2 months in, you have not received your salary, and then she'll come and pay maybe half of it, and then maybe try and clear, and then again, the next month is going to be the same thing. But, you know, here you're working with the clients, you know they are paying because, you know, there's the back email confirmed receipt of the payment and all that. And then she'll be out like, I'm going on a vacation. So most of the time we were running the organization as the, you know, as the employees, and she'll go have fun, and that's about it. And then at one point when I realized something was not 100% okay, was I brought in a client. So, you know, for the full package. And one time she was like, you know, Zuhura, I don't think I'm happy with how you guys are handling my, you know, I'm not seeing the results of what I'm paying for. For PR, it's there because, you know, I can't lie that, you know, I'm publishing stuff and they cannot see it on the links on the site. So she was like, for PR, that one can be documented. But on this other side, I don't see the value for my money. And she actually asked for a meeting for the same. So I did talk to Catherine and ask, okay, what's going on? Is there a disconnect on how we're doing her campaign? Because if that's the case, why don't we try and see how we can link the, you know, PR with social media and other marketing and see how we can best expose, you know, build her brand. And eventually she pulled out, you know, Catherine made an excuse like, no, she's just, you know, someone else. She's mad. She doesn't know how to interact with people. So I'll be letting her go. She won't be renewing the package, only to come and learn later that she pulled out. So that was question marks for me. And then months in, one of our colleagues resigned, and she hadn't paid her also for like that month. And that is the reason she resigned. But when we asked, she came and started, our clients are complaining about her work. She's not doing her work well. And it's ironic because the clients were so happy that they even paid her an extra bonus for the good job she had done for them. So that also started raising, the pink, more like the red flag, but we try to paint them pink just so that we can get by. And then come 3 months in, she's owing me over 10,000 USD, and I'm realizing, okay, this is not good. But now what kept me going for the remaining part of the months was I didn't want to leave the clients hanging, because you can't just wake up and say, I'm not working until I get my pay. And this is somebody you're handling, because we directly talk to the clients every day. So you need to give them an update. You need to let them know how the account is doing and all that. So I gave my notice and told her, I'll be handling each of my clients until the end of their tenure. And after that, if you haven't cleared with me, then this is it. I'll have to resign. And she came with a counter offer, and she was like, when you started this organization, I overquoted in terms of how much I'm supposed to be paying you guys monthly, and that is why we're not doing so well. And I even came up with ideas like, why don't you try and do this, introduce the retainer package, so that at least you're guaranteed every month you have something coming in. And then you can introduce other smaller packages, for different clients, so that you can be able to pull different kind of clients to ensure there is a consistent cash flow. And she was like, yeah, so if you are okay after and then she was like, okay, let's review your contract so that at the end of this month, if you agree to it, we can revise how I'll be paying you, the package I'll be earning. So we agreed that if she clears my debt by that time, then I can consider taking in the new package, because that will be on need and on client basis. But come that end of the month, nothing happened. So that's when the roller coaster began.
Okay, so how did it start, the roller coaster?
Majorly in terms of delay, in terms of payments, and then excuses after excuses. So once I handed in my resignation, later on now, after I've fully resigned, she was like, one client is complaining that the work was not well done, and you are solely handling that client. So this is your fault. That means I'll have to deduct from whatever I owe you, 1,500 USD to repay that client back. So the good thing was I pulled up my email, the email conversation and the trailers we've been having with the client, and was like, this is my communication to the client. This is me asking her to give me 1, 2, 3 things. And according to our contract, if you're asking for some items from the client and they do not communicate back, they cannot penalize you for that. And I was consistent in terms of reaching out. And whatever I've been able to work, this is the report I compiled. Here you go. You can show it to the client with the same. But I was like, okay, so there's nothing she's going to penalize us, because we have done our part in terms of, according to the agreement of the contract, we had the no-show clause, where if the client does not get back to you with the information you need for a specific period, then once the contract is done, they cannot ask for a refund or an extension for whatever has not been done. Yeah.
Right.
So that one, I think I beat her to it, so she didn't know how to react. And she was like, yeah, you have a point. So let's see how it goes. But I'm working on something. The accountant is working on some money. And then a few weeks in, I realized I've been blocked from Slack. So I couldn't contact her through the Slack channel that we used to communicate. So I switched to email. And I was like, okay, we have this amount pending. So when are you going to pay me? And then come October, November, December, January. In February, I told her, if you're not going to pay, I think I'll have to take legal action. So she went ahead and paid me around 2,000 USD, now leaving a balance of the 4,200 USD. So that one, I think, was just to silence me. She was like, yeah, I'm working for the remainder of the amount, and then I'm going to clear it with you. And then, we've been having the back and forth. And then I realized she has blocked me also on email. I couldn't contact her, because whenever I send out the email, and then it will bounce back. So I think my final email to her was like, you know what? I think where it has reached, even if you don't get to pay me, but it's time I go and tell my story so that people can get to know the kind of person you are. Because you have people working under you. These people are parents, they have kids, they have responsibilities, and they're doing a full-time job for you. But you can afford to, spend time or money that you're earning from the clients they're working for to go out on vacations, but you can't afford to pay them. So people
So
are either lagging behind.
How long did you actually work for her, and how many of those months did you actually get paid for?
I think over a year.
Okay.
So yeah, so she kept dragging, but now what we have left is a month.
That's how much she owes you now, a month worth of back pay, essentially. Okay, so
yes.
So you mentioned she was going out on vacations. When was that happening? To give us an idea of within the timeline, within the year that you were employed there, how often was she going on vacation? Where was she going? I need details.
Okay, she'll say she's going to work with a client outside the country, wherever, during the tenure of work, and then she'll go for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, come back, and then you'll hear she's going to a different, country, and then come back again. So the others, you could get to see it from the Facebook post, wherever she's gone, or the kind of vacation she's having. But it is something that I've learned even recently. She's still been doing so.
So is her company still like around?
Yes. I even saw that I was replaced. Someone else was hired to fill my position. So it's still running.
I find it weird that it's running, because we tried to reach out, obviously, quite a lot on all of the email addresses on LinkedIn, and we didn't go in with, hey, we know this secret about you. It was more, hey, we'd like to connect, kind of
like we have this podcast.
Yeah,
maybe
I didn't even say podcast. I was like, oh, we'd like to talk to you about, your skills in this space, and nothing.
She's probably on vacation, Nicola.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But what I also noticed was during the time I was working for her, I landed her some of the interview opportunities with, big organizations, so that you can be awarded for the kind of, movement you have in terms of in your field. And each time she'll be like, I don't have time to work for it. So I kind of realized she's avoiding the limelight, but I was like, okay, maybe she has a reason for that. Now it makes sense. But then I presume maybe she's too busy. She can handle, she's working with clients. But I realized if this is an opportunity to place you and the organization out there, why wouldn't you jump on it? Because one of it, I think, was an award, and she was nominated for it. Yeah. So maybe that's why she doesn't reach back out.
Because maybe the house of cards will fall.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Because a lot of these big companies, they require certain, I'm speaking from my industry, but for instance, they'll need certain audits before they can do work for you. So, or work with you rather. Like for me, I work in manufacturing, so they need to make sure the factories are, ESG, socially, environmentally, economically responsible, all those things. And I'm wondering if some of those big companies would need, the equivalent of that. Like maybe they would need to have access to people's working, I don't know, their IDs, make sure everyone's above board. I don't know what that could be. Is there anything that you know of, Nicola, in marketing or PR that would be required?
No, I'd say probably just a portfolio.
Right? Because is there a way to verify, or even for big companies, I don't know, Coca-Cola?
You would absolutely, if you're putting in a RFP or a tender for a big company, for sure you want to make sure that, for New Zealand, as an example, if you're putting in an RFP, you absolutely need to state that you are meeting all your legal obligations. And then the big one there, if it were for marketing or something, it would be, portfolio or proof that you can actually do what you say you're doing.
So here's my thing. Maybe, and I'm just thinking about this, it just popped into my head. Maybe she didn't want to work with these big companies because the expense, the outlay, even though they're paying something, right? The outlay on the company's part might have been too much, too big, that she couldn't afford. I don't know. maybe it was something like that, because that seems very strange. Like if somebody came to me, like if anyone in my industry came to me and was like, oh, Sephora wants to meet with you, I'd be like,
Hey,
I'm on the next flight, I don't care.
Oh yeah.
I'm to Singapore. Let me go.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know
like
what
I would
Sephora
just be
says.
like, I'm on it, I'll do anything. Do you need to take an arm and a leg? Like, yeah, so that seems very weird that she would kind of shy away from that. So I'm sure there's some, because there must be something that we're missing there.
True.
Okay, so what was the last communication you had with her?
I think it was around that February, March. I can counter check, but after that she went silent. So
And you've been
the
blocked
payment has
on
been
everything?
yeah. I tried reaching out to through a lawyer, and she was like, there's this clause where freelancers can be charging interest on whatever amount that is pending, so you can include that. But I was like, that wasn't on the original contract per se. And then why don't you just clear my principal? And then if you feel like you want to pay the interest, you can go ahead and pay the interest, because I'm not even pushing for interest. I'm just asking for
You just want for the money that you worked for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
So after that,
that's just logic.
Right. And it's like
exactly.
And you are actually being very gracious. Like I would have been like, pay me my money and pay me 15% interest, you horrible bitch. Like, like I would be like, I'm absolutely
like, you just do you, boo. Pay me when you can.
No, I mean, I don't, that's the thing. Like if someone like tries to F with my money, like I get like I get real, like you're way more gracious and generous than I would ever be. So did the lawyer reach out to her?
Yeah, she did. And then she sent him the same clause about, she can start charging interest. And then if it accrues for, I think, around 3 years, then I don't know what happens. I didn't even go through that, because what I told her was like, no, we don't need you to pay everything else. All we want is for you just to settle the principal pending amount, and then the lawyer's fee, which is just 100 USD for the demand letter. Yeah.
So is the lawyer still in contact with her?
No, she went radio silent and was like, okay, just chill. Let me do research and see how else we can do. Because what I realized was, if I was to press charges from my end, even if I was to win the case, I'll be forced to still travel to Australia to be able to, whether it's to auction any of her things, to be able to recover the money. So it wouldn't have made financial sense at that point.
Right. And that's like, do you know she only hires like from Kenya area, or
actually the majority are from Philippines. Majority are from Philippines.
That's cheap labor.
Yeah.
That is cheap labor. That's why that's fucked up. What is she doing? Okay, carry on.
So I think it was the only Kenyan then, and then the rest were from Philippines and herself. But from the new set of people I saw, I think the PR ladies from Australia, like her, and then there were 2 new recruits, I guess from States or something, I'm not sure.
Okay. So that gives me like a little bit of a red flag, because like everyone's remote, everyone's in a different country.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't have any idea what those countries' employment laws are like. And it's harder. It's harder.
She's from Australia. The employment law in Australia is very robust. It's like ours. Even for freelancers or contractors, like it's very specific. So if you are employing people from overseas, you would have to meet certain requirements in Australia.
So
I think she's striving for the fact that we don't know that information, because I'm in Kenya. So whatever I'm doing, it will be based on what will our law do and all that. And then the contract, you're familiar with
your legal system in your country. Same with the Philippines. Yes. So like I would never know that, what Nicola just said. I would never have known that. I didn't know it before this moment. I just know it now. So that's my point. I think she's probably doing this because it's like a workaround. It's like a loophole kind of. So she can get away with whatever it is that she's getting away with. Yeah, go ahead.
And I think when we came in again, there was another phase of, employees who had left. And majority of them have been complaining, there's been delay of salary. And then when you ask for the salary, you're a bad person, you haven't been doing your work well. There's always something to accuse you so that you look like the bad person in the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild though.
Yeah. Okay. So amidst all of this, you dropped a nice little bombshell about culture cure. Can you explain what culture cure is and why it is laughable that this person also, I think she had like a 20-minute YouTube video that was like seen by 7 people, something like that, right, Nicola? For this. Okay, so explain culture cure and how you found out about it, and then Nicola and I will start laughing.
So my payment started coming in for the first time when she paid. So it was under the culture cure, and she told us, I ran this agency where I've been training organizations on how to handle their employees, how they should treat their employees, ensure they belong, how they're supposed to be paid on time, and all that, everything to
I'm losing my shit right now. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I remember when I was asking, I was like, I remember you told me you've been.
No, we're just getting into the good parts. By the way, I love your primary color jumper. It's like such a school teacher jumper.
Pride jumper.
I love it.
I'm so cheerful because I'm at the office today.
Training organizations on this. So
how no, wait, you froze. You froze. You have to go back.
You're doing. I think I froze. Sorry.
Okay, so you were explaining what Culture Cure supposedly does. She's supposedly teaching other companies how to run a company properly. Meanwhile, her only real experience in corporate marketing has been, I believe it was one internship that we know for sure. Unclear. Okay, and so you start getting paid from there?
Yeah.
So from Culture Cure.
So she explains to you what Culture Cure is. Okay, then what happens?
Yes. And then that is the same receipt, and I think addresses have been we've been receiving our pays from. So when this starts happening, you're not earning anything, and there's delay in the salary, and when you try and raise it up, or when somebody resigns, they're the bad people. So I was like, okay, you say you're training organizations on how they're supposed to treat the employees. How come you're not practicing the same with the organization? Because, you should be a living example. If you know so well when you're delaying salaries, it's going to affect these people you've taken, especially those who are mothers, you should be the last person, practicing that. And she's like, no, it's not that, it's just the accountant. I've been trying to balance.
The accountant who probably didn't exist.
The ghost accountant.
Yeah, but not only that,
it made no sense.
On the website, they have like a manifesto on like behavior and like a manifesto on how best to treat their own employees, right? Remember we went through the manifesto?
We did.
And we were like, this is wild, because now she's taken the time to write this bullshit and doesn't even follow any of it.
So my question is, did we ever find out if she had any actual clients for Culture Cure? Like, what happened there? Because here's my line of thinking. If you're getting paid from an organization that it's not for profit, or it is for profit. It's for profit organization. Okay. But I'm wondering, because it's like under this, like, I don't know, in a weird niche, like maybe there was a tax benefit to getting paid through an organization like that. Like maybe it's not like an S Corp or an LLC. It's, one of the other formations that, there could potentially be some sort of money savings via taxes. Like, because I know if you're like, if you're a nonprofit, you have there are special things that you are able to do because you're not for profit, you have like tax breaks. So I'm wondering, I don't know the laws in Australia, but I'm wondering if that's why it was happening. And I would love to know who the clients were for Culture Cure, because based on that website, it was very I don't think it was like updated since like 2018 or 2019, right?
Yeah.
And it looked like it was just like cut and pasted from other things.
That's true.
Yeah, like she probably
Yes.
Googled like best practice in workplace and like just like copied the text and changed a few words and um okay. So culture cure, the irony. Okay, so then what happens?
No, she just, rubbished that off, and she was like, the accountant, balancing clients not paying. So the excuses kept going on. And I was like, okay, enough is enough.
Okay, so at this point, has any of your other like fellow colleagues from your time working there, has any of them reached out to you? Has there been any other like information that was gathered from, I don't know, just it seems like you're kind of keeping tabs on her. So has there been any kind of additional information that you found out after the fact?
I think before then I just realized she was still going on the frequent vacations, and that clients have been paying. So she just wasn't paying me. That is the only thing that was going on. But with time, I realized one of those colleagues that I used to talk to, I couldn't reach. I think she had blocked me or something. So I realized maybe it's from her, or she got the directive, you need to cut links with her if you want to stay in this organization. So I understood that.
So
Yeah.
as far as you know, were you the only employee who didn't get paid for time worked?
As at now, I think so, because those who are left behind, they said there's been, the delays, but I don't know if they eventually got paid or not, because I couldn't reach them now. Yeah.
Right, of course, because this is so bizarre. All right, Nicola, what are your thoughts?
I just think I think it's so curious because, we've seen the emails, right? And it's just so like all the emails are so excusey. Like there's always something that is out of my control, and this is the reason I can't pay you. But there's never really any concrete reason as to why she's not meeting those contractual obligations, which I found really weird. And then also I find it really weird that, I think for me, probably my biggest red flag is the fact that she has gone just from this internship and opened this business, and I wonder if, this kind of circles all the way back, Gina, to right at
Nicola's favorite phrase.
right at the very beginning. But I actually wonder if maybe she's immature in her understanding of how business works and doesn't actually understand that her behavior impacts others yet. I don't know if she's at that point in her career.
How old is she? Do you know?
I think she's in her late 20s.
Oh, God,
should be late 20s, early 30s, yeah.
No, no one should be owning a company in your late 20s. I actually started my company, my first company, when I was around the same age, and I completely mismanaged it. That was 100% my doing. I didn't have any employees, so it only ended up affecting like me, but I also learned from it. I was like, okay, if I go into business for myself or create something else, I'm going to have to learn from these stupid things that I did. Like I had no idea how to like do a proper accounting. It was just, there was, so now we have an outside accountant. So it's like, that actually does exist.
It's true.
It's true. And I can give you information.
You made up her name and you're just like emailing from her email address.
Me?
Yeah.
I read an article, not gonna lie, I read an article not that long ago that people in positions that are like, I don't know, maybe higher up, maybe middle tier, will create their own assistant, and it's really just them. And so they'll like call restaurants and they'll be like, yes, I am making a reservation for Mr. Smith and he must come in. And like, they're a lot bitchier and then they get shit done, but it's really them. And I was like, that's amazing. I should start doing that.
So on board. Oh my God, what would your assistant's name be?
I don't know. I would have to really think about it, because like it would have to be something like unique.
So, okay, so like if I'm gonna give a fake name, like when you go to a house and you look at a house and they're like, write your name down to show you were at the house. I always
And you're
give
like,
Sarah Summers.
all right, I like it. So your fake assistant would be Sarah Summers?
Absolutely, she would be. If you're getting an email from Sarah Summers, know that it's me.
That's you.
Unless there's a Sarah Summer who wants to be my assistant, I won't pay you.
I love Sarah Summers. There was also
Okay,
like
Zuhara,
this,
what would your assistant's name be?
yeah, what would your fake assistant?
I think I'll go with Susan.
Susan.
They get things done.
Hello,
She's
this is Susan for Zuhara.
mine would be Karen. Mine would be Karen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because Karen would be like, you clearly can't handle this problem, so I'm gonna have to speak to your supervisor.
So,
all right, so wait. So I truly don't believe the accountant existed. I don't. Because even for me, like my first company, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was not even wise enough to fake an accountant. Also, this was like 2008 maybe. So I don't think like anyone was so savvy yet with like, anyway. But
I remember when one of the clients was venting and she was like, I think she took the time and decided to go to social media and see what we have done. And she was like, if you own the organization and you don't even have a, social media account, so how are you going to do marketing for someone else when you cannot even manage your own? Even the company didn't have a social media profile and all that.
Because
yeah.
What? Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me just rewind. So you're saying, just to be clear for the people in the back, you're saying she was in social media and like marketing management, and not only did did Culture Cure have an Instagram presence?
No, I didn't see one.
So none of her companies actually have an Instagram presence, and they're not doing any.
Not even.
So how did you get new clients? I'm so confused.
Yeah, where are these clients?
I don't know. I don't know if she reached out from her previous contacts or something. Yeah, so should be a call outreach, because for the LinkedIn profile for the Catalyst brand strategy, I'm the one who created it and started managing it. So where I dropped off, that's where everything stopped.
Okay. So
yeah.
As of now, what do you hope to have happen with this situation? What is your biggest hope? I mean, of course you would like to be paid, but do you feel like you're actually going to get paid?
Honestly, I don't know. But I think from what I know is I've learned a lot from this whole experience. Because right now, if somebody is sending me out a contract, I need to see, the whole process. Because with her, I just had the interview, here's the contract, let's start working. So it was all that at once. I didn't take time to realize, okay, we don't have a HR in this organization, and I've never met the accountant, and we don't do regular, company meetings just to update the internal kind of meetings, because most of the meetings were we meeting the clients and then maybe updates in terms of this and that. And I remember we were given a Christmas bonus of, was it $10?
$10?
Yeah, I think thereabout. It was less than $100 actually.
I'd be like,
yes.
I don't even want it at this point. I'd be like, this is insulting. I don't even want it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's terrible. So at this point, I don't know, Nicola, do you think she's gonna get paid? I don't think you're gonna get paid at this point.
Actually, I've reached out to an Australian debt collecting company, so I'll be talking with them tomorrow. Yeah, so I wanted to see how that goes.
Okay, but my feeling is if she has the balls to ignore a lawyer and to just cut you completely out, she's whatever these debt, because even debt collectors, and it's not like back in the day when like a debt collector would go to your door and be like, give me the fucking money. Like, it's all done, you know, virtually, basically. So there's really not much, unless you're like getting involved with like the mafia. Like, they're not gonna make house calls, you know. They might call you incessantly or bug you incessantly, but if she has no intention of paying, unless there's something different going on in Australia, she's not gonna
I think
pay.
they said something like they'll have her listed and then maybe her credit score will go down or something. So most businesses don't want that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
we'll see. I'd be very interested. I just feel like her credit score is probably garbage anyway, considering how she manages money. So what's another hit on her credit score? It's like garbage, less garbage. You know, it's like, I think my wish for you is just that people hear your story and they're wary of this. Like, I do think post COVID and during COVID, all of this remote work from all over the place brings its own host of issues like this. Like what, yep. And so it seems kind of crazy, like that it's being used that, like, it's kind of, like, I just feel like there's so many other issues that brings, you know, just being remote and various different, you know, just various different countries involved. Like, Nicola, you had that issue with our company. Like, we didn't know under whose jurisdiction, like, your employment contract was even, you know, like,
Which
there's
it definitely was New Zealand, so I should have actually.
Well, we found that out later, yeah. So it's like, I just feel like working remotely, having these issues are like, they're going to be more prevalent. So I hope that people hear your story and that they could safeguard themselves from this, because you were basically doing free labor.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she wasn't even like buying you lunch or anything, like free labor. So it's like, yeah. So what do you think, Nicola? What do you think the takeaway here is for everyone?
I think the takeaway here is, you know, make sure you keep receipts, check your contractual obligations from both parties, not just one side. I think, you know, unfortunately, sometimes, unless you fight really hard, sometimes it just doesn't, you know, sometimes it just doesn't go to plan, I guess. Like, this is one of the most horrible, awfulest stories. Because
it's like so overt. It's not even like, I feel like I didn't feel like in some of the other toxic workplaces, like it's much more subtle. It's more like they work on your psyche. Whereas this is just outright like, fuck you, I'm not paying you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Honestly, I'll take a closer look at the company, you know, do some little research, do some background research. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're going to the debt collector. I'm curious to know what happens. Keep us updated. Like, let us know.
I will. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, let us know, because obviously we've got an interest in this now, right? So yeah, I'd be curious to know how it all plays out, but it's been going on for so long. Like, you've been having these challenges for so long, and that's, you know, that's stressful on your mental health and your well-being as well. You know, it's not even like financially, like, park that for a second, but it's degrading on your mental health and your well-being.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry this happened to you.
I think maybe people would also want to know, like, are you currently working? How are you getting jobs? Are you still working freelance? Like, give us a little info about that.
Yeah, I'm actually still working freelance, majorly on LinkedIn and then on Indeed. That's where I get most of the clients from. But I can say my new employer, I did the due diligence, and the whole process is obvious that these are people who know what they're doing. You know, you had the HR, we had the onboarding process, we had all that lined out.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, that not to say that bigger companies are better, but there are hopefully a little more checks and balances. When it's a small
Sure.
company, you know, it's somebody, they may not have all of that, the ability to do that, you know, like for me, like in my business, it's like I'm HR. I'm also like I do a lot of things, but mainly like for me, I have employees that I just kind of let them do their thing. I try not to get involved because it's like if I knew how to do what they were doing, then I'd be doing it. And clearly I don't. So any
Yeah.
input from me is going to be like, you know, I stick to what I'm good at and that's it.
Stick to your wheelhouse.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, this has been an interesting chat. I'm sorry we couldn't get her to join. The invitation will
okay.
stand if she ever wants to come on and talk about her company, so on and
That would be
so forth.
lovely.
We would like it. I would like to know kind of where Culture Cure, where that idea came from. So anyway, it would be interesting. Hit us up if you're listening to this, which I'm sure you're not, because you probably preemptively blocked us, Catherine. Like she's like the blocking queen. She's probably blocked us just after we even just said, "Hey, we want to talk to you about Culture Cure." She's like, seems suspicious. Block.
Block.
I swear to God. All right. Well,
where can people find you, Zuhara, if
yes.
they want to recruit you in as well? Where can people find you?
On LinkedIn as Zuhara Miriam. I think I'll share the link with you.
Okay.
Sounds good. And we will put it in the show notes as well so people can come looking for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And it's been a great chat.
If anyone knows anything about this woman, also let us know.
Oh, yes. That would be fascinating.
If anyone here has worked
For my
with
employees.
her, former employees, anyone, if it reaches them, you never know who's going to listen to us crazies.
Sure.
Please reach out. We would love to hear more.
And I think as like a closing remark, if heaven forbid she were to be listening today, what would you like to say to her?
Just keep your word. I mean, a word should represent who you are, because it can build or destroy you at the same time.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Let's Break Up, Toxic Workplace Stories. If you enjoyed our candid conversations and insights, don't forget to hit that like button, follow us on social media, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform.